and then later on post it to YouTube. Okay, so I already posted, and what next? We are going to start our first, hold on, let me find my, let me find, maybe, because most of you already know how to get to Jupyter Notebook through the Anaconda, is it? How about let me first get to the Jupyter Notebook? Is this? Yeah, this is the Jupyter Notebook. So here is my Jupyter Notebook. And Jupyter Notebook, you can see it's basically in a browser. Okay, in a browser. And how do we get to Jupyter Notebook? After you install Anaconda on Windows, Windows Start. From Windows Start, you can find Anaconda. And in my case, it's Anaconda 3. And in Anaconda 3, and you can start a Jupyter Notebook. There is a shortcut for you to start a Jupyter Notebook. And there is another way, is just directly in Windows command line, you just type Jupyter and the notebook, and it will also start Jupyter Notebook in your browser. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. And then let's see the Jupyter Notebook. So here I open the Jupyter Notebook. And for the Jupyter Notebook, the way for me to do is generally, if you just, it has a, so let me put it here. So here, you know, like for my case, I renamed the Python, the Jupyter Notebook file name as Quick Python Tutorial, okay? And if you don't name it, has the default untitled. And what I like is you just go to, after you have a, like you can do start a new file as a Python file, and also make sure over here as it is the select Python 3 file in my case, okay? And I believe you are going to install, if you install Anaconda latest one is also Python 3, okay? And once you start this, it will have untitled, that, and you can do rename. And you don't need to do the same, you can do rename, okay? And then you can give your notebook a name. So this is very also pretty straightforward. And generally speaking, regarding Jupyter Notebook, it's regarding the cell, okay, regarding the cell. And there are two types of cell that we use a lot, okay. Mostly we use code. Code is all of your Python code is going to be right in code. And there is another one called markup. Markup is for kind of you write the documentation for your code, okay? And it's very neat, it's a follow HTML formatting. So if you are familiar with HTML, and then it will be an easy job, because this is quite helpful if later on you want to publish your notebook on the website, is it? And then this markup documentation part going to be the formatting of your notebook will make it very neat. Okay, so we are not going to cover a lot of those, because over here you can. So this is, if you take a look, so this here is the markup cell. It's just for doc, and it's mostly like that, follow the HTML. And this is in editing mode, is it not the running mode? Okay, and so this is markup, And over here, I also have a link to the marker, so to the markdown cheat sheet. And over here, it has quite detailed information about how to do the formatting, etc. And generally speaking, like the dash will be used as kind of bullet points, okay? So this is markdown cell for Jupyter Notebook. And what we, so this next cell, if you take a look over here, so there's kind of some arrow. This is the code cell. So all of your Python code and the Python command, etc., can be put in those cells, okay, in the cells. And it's not a .py file. This is a notebook. So each cell it can run on its own, okay. And and we can, when we do the run, if you take a look, the cell, you can run cells. So then in this case, if you do run cells, it's run the complete notebook, all of the cell. And you can also just choose like run the cell itself. So because right now, this is active cell, and you can just run the cell itself, Oh, I'm sorry. The run all is run the complete notebook, okay? And you can also just run these individual cells. And the next you can run this cell, So this is for code, okay? Code cell. And in this case, for this cell, this is the first cell. So you can just type some Python statement, and this one is I want to check like a Python version, and we have exclamation mark, so it's a command, it's a Python command, so you can use exclamation mark, the Python command, and then in this case it check the version. Okay, in this case 3.8.8, and you can also check like Jupyter Notebooks information, like the version is here. It also shows. Okay, so anyway, so this is the Jupyter Notebook, the code cell. Okay, code cell, and then if you take a look, so we will start our Python programming language here, okay? And this cell, you can clearly see it's markdown cell. So it's just use explanation. And of course, in your cell, you can also do, so just like other programming language, you can also do the comments. Normally comments you can put like the pound sign is for comments, okay? So this is comments. So just like other programs, it's not an executable statement, okay? And so the first part regarding the Python programming language, it's similar as other language, it's the data type, okay? And for Python, Python, it's not like Java or C++ that we learned, the variable needs to have data type specified, in Python, it's not. So like over here, it shows. So in this case, X is a Python variable, but there is no type associated with it. The type is determined over here, you do the assignment, and it's determined by the data. So over here, basically it's the object, So, and later on we can see, it's not like other programming languages. The type is associated with the variable. Once you declare the type, later on you cannot assign it to other type of data. But Python is not that case, okay? It's a variable. So the type determined by the right-hand assignment, the object value type, So that's why later on it can be associated with other data type, and we will see that also. And so over here, so Python, so because this is in Jupyter Notebook, it's not like other program. You need to have a main and you have function, and then in main you call it. Main is always the entry point. It's not that case, okay, because it's a script, okay. So it's on the go, okay. Every statement kind of independent can be executed on its own. So you don't need a main, okay. So anyway, so this is just like other programs, it's an assignment statement, but also make sure in Python, no semicolon for the ending of the statement. So it's just, you know, it's just, you just write a statement, no semicolon, okay. So this is similar as other, it's assignment, is it? And based on this number, so it's an integer. So that's why later on you can check the type. It says it's integer. It's an integer, and the value is 6. And if you want output, it's similar. We can use a print, okay. And over here, so this is regarding like with numerical, is it? It's an operator. So this is similar as other. It's plus, minus, multiplication, and exponential, is it? And you can find the result like this, okay. So this part also nothing new. And you can also do unary operation, is it? So, okay, plus equal 1, is it similar? And the times equal, this is pretty straightforward also, okay. And then over here, let's see. So for the variable y, is it variable y? Variable y, then it is what? It is, the type is float because it's 2.5. So you don't specify that y type is a float. It's determined by the object that's going to be assigned to this variable. So when we do the type, so if you want to check the type of the variable, you can use type. Then it will give you like it's a float, is it? And for floating operation, it's similar, okay, as the integer. So this is x, y. And also be careful, okay, in notebook, so here we define, so in this is a cell, is it notebook cell? So for in this cell, you already assign x with some value, is it? And in this next cell, then the value is going to be carried on, okay? So it's not like after that cell, then you cannot access x. No, it's not that. So in this here, you can still, so we can try that like print x. You can. Oh, sorry, I didn't run off. Let me see. We can also do run on off the above. Is it run off the above? Why is it so slow for my? Okay, is it? So this is the current cell. And then if you want to run all of the above cells, not the single cell, is it? And you can also choose that. You can also do run all below. And you can also run all of the cells. So now we have the x value. So now this is the current cell. So we have the green boundary. So, and then you see it to carry over that x, is it? And also in Python is x can be changed to other type, is it? So let's see. But you will also see, okay, so did you see then x is changed to string, from integer to string. So we can clearly see that so the variable type is not permanent with the first assignment. It can be changed. Okay, so that's regarding, so maybe I need to get rid of, I don't remember later on if I use x, the individual. So anyway, so that's regarding variable and the basic type, like integer and floating. So those are numerical values, okay. And what next Sarah discussion is about, another point over here says Python doesn't have the incremental, unary incremental decrement. Okay, so remember this, plus plus minus minus not supported. If you want, you can do this, okay. And what next is Boolean values in Python. Okay, Boolean Python, and it's true, false. It's pretty similar as other language, but like over here it says, it also support, Python also support Boolean logic, is it like and, or, is it those things, but it use English word and, not the and, not the ampersand sign or the vertical line as other language. So keep this in mind. Okay, so let's take a look. So over here, T and F. T and F. So over here, it also shows this is also different from other language. Other language, you cannot do this simultaneous assignment, is it? And here on the left side, you have two variables. Is it on the right side, you also have two values. So that's why it will be taken care. Okay, it will find the matching one. So in Python, this is also allowed. So you can assign in a single statement multiple values to multiple variables. And then over here to try to find the variable type that it's Boolean. Okay, Boolean. And what next to try to show is the Boolean logic. Okay, so if you want to logic and, then you need to use this English word and. Okay, and this and of course it is false. Is it? And for all, we don't use this vertical line. Okay, we use English word or. Okay. For not, it's not like other language, exclamation mark, it's the word not. Okay, and you can also do logical exclusive or, is it? You can do something like this, or you can use the hat, both do the same thing. So this is regarding logic, Boolean logic, okay, in Python. And what next is string, okay, string. So over here is it, so in Python, it's not like other languages, it's single quotation, double quotation. In other language, single quotation is for character, is it? But in Python, single quotation can also hold multiple letter string, is it? Is that it can also use a single quotation. And it also allows double quotation. Okay, double quotation, it's also string. So this two, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's the same. Okay. And if you want to know how many letters in a string, you can use this Python function for the length. Okay, so this is Python embedded function, okay, called length. You can just directly use it. Okay, so that's regarding a string variable. And then what next? Shows as if you want to do string concatenation, the string concatenation is, you can just use the plus sign, okay? And this is just some space, it's a single space, and then we can have the output to double check. And what next, Sarah try to show is for the output format, is it? And you can also do string format. This is, if you recall for Java, it's a lot of similarity between them, or like JavaScript. And over here, so for Python, it uses the the curly brackets, okay, the pair of curly brackets, it's kind of to specify the, so it's a placeholder kind of, is it? And within the format function, so basically this is a string. This is a string, this single quotation. Single quotation, is it within the single quotation, you can place the placeholder. In some other language, we do like Java, we do percentage S, percentage D, something, etc. And over here to use the curly brackets, okay. And within a string, embedded within a string, is it? And whatever here you have, you can put it, we can try something like this. Is it lower 453? Is it? Is it because, oh yeah, it's because some I need to do run above, run or above. It's kind of slow. If you did you see, if you didn't see this line, that means it's still running for the cell. Okay, now we finish. So we have the hello, and now if you see, so this is a string letter. So this is a string letter CS 433, and here we have some space. Is it? So this curly bracket then will match. So this is second per curly bracket. So it's match the word. The first curly brackets matches the hello, and then the third one match 12. So this is kind of formatting placeholder. So you can format, give your string some formatting, okay, and then over here we output to see the effects. So it's pretty similar as other language, okay. And what next regarding string? So over here we have this string, hello, is it? And it's assigned to variable s. So this is a variable s. And for string itself in Python, it has quite a number of functions, okay. In this case, this is the first one called capitalize. So you can capitalize a string, okay. And if you see the output, it will capitalize the first letter as it of the string. And you can also convert a string to uppercase, as it, then you can call upper function. And these are just, so this is do adjustment. And over here it said, okay, the whole string will take how many space. And if your string is not that long enough, because we have 1, 2, 4, 5, is that we have 5 letters of as string. And you said, okay, I want to have 7 space for the output. Is it? So then it will be padded with spaces. Is it padded with space? But it's right justified. So you have 2 leading space. Is it leading space? Because total it's 7. Is it? So it will do right adjustment. So this 2 space, then it will be padded with space. Okay, you can also do like center or left adjustment, as it, and similar, it's going to padding with space if you don't have enough letters. And what the next one try to show is you can also call replace, as it replace. And in this case, it says, okay, I'm going to replace all L to a brace, then ELL. As it, and you can clearly see the output. As it is do the substitution, okay, called the replace one. And this strip, okay, the strip, you can also specify to use what to do the delimitation. And over here, it's just to strip the leading and filling white space, okay. So now you have the word. as it be stripped out. Okay, so this is regarding some string operation. So string function, so it use dot the specific function to access. So these are all string related. And also be careful, okay, if you recall previous, if you want to know how many, you can also do length. This is not a string specific. Okay, so this is just to check, okay, how many letters. This is Python. In
Okay,
Python,
look.
Python function. And over here, it's dot. These are all related with string. Okay, and then this part is starting from here. It's quite useful, okay, because later on when we do machine learning, we will kind of, use a lot of concepts. Hold on, I have something. Admit, yeah. So built-in container. So basically, it's data structures, okay, in Python, okay, generally used. So we have list, dictionaries, sets, and tuples or tuples. Okay, and in Python, there is no array. But later on, we will see, basically for machine learning, it's all based on numeric values, okay? But so Python has a package called NumPy, and over there it will have array kind of concept, but Python itself doesn't array. So mostly for Python to use a list. So it has a similar concept, but list, the size can change because array, strictly definition for array size cannot change. But of course, like in C++, we have dynamic array. So anyway, so in Python, if you use pure Python, then you have list for array. It doesn't, the Python itself doesn't have array. So how do we know that a variable is associated with array? So this access, so this variable is associated with a list. How do you know? It's this pair of square brackets. Okay, so in Python, if you have this square brackets and then you have some values within it separated with comma, then this is a list. So basically, this means you create a list. And in Python, lists are also object. The object, and then we know it needs some memory storage. So anyway, so this is a list. Is it? And for list, if you want to access individual item, is it? So that concept is similar. Then we use indexing. So indexing is to get a, so one, okay, one specific item, okay, a single one, okay. And then how do you do that? It's just like what we did in other programming language using square brackets with some integer value. Here it's, and also the indexing, it's start at 0. Okay, start at 0. So this access 2. So that means this is sub 0, sub 1, sub 2. So that should be this one. Okay, so that's why if you take a look, this print as it, you get 2. Is it? And also over here, you print this list, then it will give you the whole list. And did you see the square brackets? Is it? So this identify as a list, okay? So keep this in mind. And also there is another very nice thing in Python. Python is very flexible. You may see this is weird because in other code, we don't have negative indexing. Is it? In Python, it's also support negative integer value for indexing value. Okay, for indexing value. So that means, so normally 0, 1, 2, the index. So you count from the leftmost to the rightmost. Is it? So from the beginning to the end. Is it? So start to end. Is it? But you may also want to do the reversing kind of traversing. Is it? Reversing traversing kind of. Is it? Then you can use negative index. Okay, negative index. So that's it. Suppose. So -1, then it means the last one. Then -2 means the second last. Okay, so that's how the negative index. So it's count from the end. Okay, count from the end. So it's start at -1. Okay, that's also pretty handy because later on we will see it quite helpful a lot of times. Okay. So just keep that in mind in Python list. Okay, Python list is like an array. Okay, Python itself doesn't have array, so it's use list. And supports indexing and also negative index. Okay, and then let's see here. And for list, Python list, it's not like other language, the typed language, because Python is not a typed language. Okay. And then you see this list is kind of like an integer number list. Is it? But did you see, you said, okay, for the last one, I want it to be reassigned a string full. Then if you take a look at this list, the output, it has a mixed type of data. Is it? So this is also fine in Python. Okay. So list can contain different type of data. Okay. So it's not a single type. So this is also allowed. And how do you add? How do we add more items? We can call append. Oh, and we run out of time today. Okay. So it's already 9:51.